4 days after Kent State, a massive demonstration in lower Manhattan set off legions of hard hats whose rage had been building for years.
It was never planned to explode, but it did explode. Well, I was on Water Street, and we all just headed towards Broadway, and all you could hear was just shouting in senses of, let's get the bastards and let's finish this once and for all. And there was some blood spilt. But it was all in anger, all in vengeance. Let's get them. And a lot of people, including myself, was releasing the hate and the feelings that you had.
He looks like an American.
Of course, a lot of us felt winners. We felt very proud. We scattered the enemy.
The hard hats were heroes for a few days, praised by Wall Street workers, given free coffee by area luncheonette owners. The leaders of the construction unions were invited to the White House, where they presented President Nixon with an honorary hard hat. And the hard hat became a symbol for the so-called silent majority, those who felt their way of life was now under siege. By the early 1970s, it wasn't just anti-Vietnam protesters on the streets and on the news anymore, but a dizzying array of other forces as well. Women, Native Americans, Chicanos, Puerto Ricans, Black Panthers, Gray Panthers, the openly gay Pink Panthers. All these groups forged in this era of so-called identity politics were all militantly demanding their rights. The backlash against this politics of protest was just about ready to explode. An event in September of 1971 hastened the eruption. When 1,500 prison inmates rioted and demanded their rights, the nation's anger and frustration became focused on the Attica Correctional Facility in upstate New York. The inmates captured 50 hostages, took control of the prison's D yard, and issued what they called 5 non-negotiable demands.
Wait a minute, hold it.
New York Times reporter Tom Wicker was one of the outside observers the inmates called on to help negotiate the non-negotiable.
The Attica inmates revolted basically against internal prison conditions, but the rhetoric of the revolt was very Marxist. You know, the oppressed peoples of the world arise.
The entire incident that has erupted here at Attica is a result of the unmitigated oppression wrought by the racist administrative network of this prison.
As this tense real-life drama unfolded, families of the hostages, desperate for word on the condition of their husbands or fathers or brothers, clustered around the prison.
Would you take that? Would you take the mic out?
They saw Black Panther leader Bobby Seale come to visit the inmates. They heard that North Vietnam offered the rioters asylum. Attica quickly became a symbol for all of America's boiling hatreds.
I went outside the prison to report on what was happening inside. And all of a sudden there began to be these shouts and screams from the crowd. I hope they kill you all, that sort of thing. They identified us, the observers, with the inmates.
The tensions mounted as neither side seemed willing to make concessions, and the state ready to take the prison back by force. On the morning of the revolt's 4th day, prison officials did not let the observers back into D Yard. Armed state troopers were perched on the prison walls.
Everybody got a gas mask.
And certainly those scared young troopers thought the inmates were going to kill the hostages. So they came in scared, and they came in shooting, and they came in taking no chances.
The hostages are on the catwalks with knives at their throats.
The 4-day standoff ended in 9 minutes of mayhem. Helicopters dropped CS gas on D Yard and state police marksmen opened fire, killing 29 inmates and 10 hostages.
It's crazy. They didn't have to do that. If the state had just sat there for 2 more weeks, maybe 3 at the outside, I mean, those guys would have given up. What is it now, 20-odd years later? I can't get over that feeling. They didn't have to do that, you know, but they did.
What happened at Attica was the largest and deadliest attack on Americans by other Americans since the Civil War. And in 1971, it often looked as though the country was in the middle of another civil war.